Hi guys, Vex here. Welcome back to another episode of Vex Talks About. Today's topic is the 1.8, the 1.9 update and the future of the Super Hostile series and what my plans and intentions are. And now that Paul Source Jr. is getting back into Minecraft, I was also thinking about poking him about, poke this Paul and seeing if we could play it together. Because for a while he kind of took a pretty long break from Minecraft, and I don't blame him. I think a lot of people maybe just got a little burnt out on it, on the game, because it is, like I've said in the previous video, it is just one video game. It's a very important, influential video game with lots of great memories, but it's still a video game. Now, and normally while I do a Vex Talks About video, I just kind of talk. But this one I figured I'd be dinking around with MC Edit, if only to give you guys something to look at instead of a still video. I just kind of like the way this looks. This lava inside half slabs. And I was thinking of maybe in the next map I work on to do a whole area like this. Because it looks pretty cool, and the best part is that it doesn't actually give off any light. But so you make it by doing this over again. You do half slabs like that, and then you fill in. You come in and fill it in with some lava, like that. And so basically I want to make an area like the whole terrain is kind of like that. It's lava-filled half slab. I wish there was a brush. Can I make a brush? Isn't there a brush? Is that mode fill? Oh, there we go. Flood fill. I bet that would work pretty well, actually. Let's try that. Give me 1 second. I'll get back to what I was going to talk about. But so when 1.9 comes out, I'm going to resume working on super hostile maps. But what I was kind of thinking is that since I'm going to be using the natural health regeneration off, and I'll be using the recharging, absorption shields, because I really like that gameplay, and it's gonna have an effect of making me not have to spam as many monsters at you in order to threaten the player. Because regenerating HP means that the only way I'm actually going to kill the player is by bursting them down with burst damage. And that means that the most effective monsters are a combination of cave spiders and creepers. Any veteran knows that if you have to go up against cave spiders and creepers at the same time, you're in trouble. And it's mostly the cave spiders, because the reason people see cave spiders as such a problem is it actually puts you at risk of dying, unlike everything else in the game, which you can take on with, I believe, some degree of relative impunity because of your regenerating health. Once you fight cave spiders and they poison you, your health regen is countered by the poison. In fact, it's actually outpaced by the poison. And suddenly, now that you're poisoned, getting hit by other monsters actually kind of starts to matter. And you feel that, I think. So, like, cave spiders being ridden by creepers, I thought was pretty effective, and it definitely seems to be, because you get poisoned, and then you take a big chunk of burst damage. Because I was always having some difficulty getting the player killed. And I think that's why the fire spiders in the start of Inferno Mines were marginally effective, is because the fire would counter health regen. And it's all about the regenerating health. Now, I want the player to be able to... I think this is going to look amazing. I want the player to be able to make mistakes, right? Like, I want you to be able to make a mistake and recover from it, and that's where the shield comes in. But if you make a slight mistake, like let's say you get shot by a skeleton once, that's something that can happen fairly often, and I don't think it's fair to punish the player and have that stack up on the player, because you can't always avoid that. Like, they just shoot you. Sometimes you turn the corner and they just immediately shoot you, especially now with their AI making them shoot faster the closer you get to them. They start like panic shooting, I guess. I really like the way half slabs look. I'm definitely going to have to use this technique. And there's our, I bet you guys have forgotten about him. My little grass pet here. He's hanging in there. He's still doing good. Man, is this going to be a Minecraft mapping video, or is this going to be a Vechs Talks About video? Well, I'm only covering this one thing, and I'm really just dinking around, so it's going to be a Vechs Talks About video. So, like, normal spiders, zombies, I'd say skeletons to a degree. Honestly, ghasts and blazes are not really that threatening. Unless you do something to them to, like, change that. Like, blazes can kill you, but like a blaze isn't going to chase you down and kill you. The only way you get killed by a blaze is if you really go looking for a fight and you force the issue of being in their spawning area and you linger around. It's very easy to just run away from a blaze because they just kind of hover there, and well, they just kind of hover there. And honestly, that's the same is kind of true with the spiders. The spiders can kind of keep up with you, but they don't really do very much damage, and they're big, and they're fat, and they're kind of derpy, and they're easy to get hung up on level geometry. That looks really cool. What about the ghast is just kind of there, floating around, not really. The ghast cannot deliver enough sustained DPS to kill you, I don't think. I mean, obviously, if you have like 100 of one type of enemy and you just stick the player right next to them in an enclosed space, yeah, you're gonna die. But I'm talking about in like in normal terrain, or the player is free to move around to a proper degree, and you're talking about a few of the enemies. Obviously, if you put the player in a 10 by 10 box with 100 zombies, the player is gonna die. But I'm under normal circumstances, like spider, zombie, blaze, ghast, not really threatening. Silverfish is only threatening under a specific layout of silverfish blocks. Like, it's got to be at the same level or above the player. If it's below the player, it's just kind of whatever. There's a bunch of like a silverfish is threatening, and then there's an asterisk after the statement, and then there's a bunch of like fine text to read down there below about what has to happen to make that threatening to the player. Like, there's got to be a certain amount of them in a certain layout, and you get the idea. Zombie pigmen, because they're neutral by default, are just kind of there. They're more like a very, very ornery cactus than an actual monster. Now, if you make them hostile by default, then the zombie pigmen can actually kill the player, mostly because of their reach and their extra damage over zombies. The zombie pigmen, the way they attack and how threatening they are, is almost kind of like what maybe the zombies should have been, but Minecraft is a very easy game. Which is funny, because Notch said he'd rather make the game too hard than too easy, but I think Notch made the mistake of conflating difficulty with time consuming. Like I've mentioned, like, well, why can't this be more convenient for the player to do? And then somebody will say, well, that'll make the game too easy. And I counter with, no, it won't. Like swinging a pick at a wall is not challenging. Like, what's the difference between waiting 2 seconds for a block to break and 10 seconds for a block to break? The answer is 8 seconds of your life, and no amount of making it take longer makes it any more challenging. It just makes it more time consuming and grindy. And I think even Notch himself confused those two things. Anyway, small rant. So in the new Super Hostile, and that's another thing I wanted to talk about. I want to make a new Super Hostile series. I want to name it something else. It's not going to be Super Hostile number blank. Because I'm making a change to the core game mechanics with the recharging shield and with the HP not regenerating. So I feel it's proper to name it something else. I was thinking just Super Hostile Adventure. Because like now that I'm changing the game mechanics, it's using a custom game mechanic with command blocks. It is sort of I think it does change it from a CTM map to a adventure CTM because I'm making my own game rules beyond vanilla Minecraft. So I think that would be appropriate, but it seems kind of plain. So one thing I'd like to ask you guys is, do you have any ideas for a name? So it's going to be Super Hostile CTM maps with recharging shields, non-regenerating HP, and I'm gonna try not to spam you with so many monsters because your health is no longer regenerating, and I won't, when you get hit several times in a row and actually lose some of your HP permanently, I want that to actually, I want that to actually matter. That's how it was back in the old days when I first started making it. You had to use food to heal yourself, and then food didn't stack. So, alright, let's see here. Flood fill. I have no idea how this is going to work. I guess I'll just stick it in here and find out. What is indiscriminate fill? Oh boy, I don't know what that does. This is the first time I've used a flood fill. Wait, time left 1 day? You're kidding, right? Maybe I should cancel this and read more about it. Let's cancel that and read more about it. Oh, I see. Yeah, let's, there we go. Okay. What's this do? Flood fill, replace, varied fill, varied replace. I was kind of hoping for a flood fill, but hollow, like leave the outer crust of, man, that sucks. I was really hoping that would, leave the outer crust of the half slabs. That's what I wanted to have happen. Damn it. Well, so much for my easy way of making this thing. So in the new Super Hostile series, I'm going to start over from number 1, and my goal is to lower the power levels, like lower the loot, lower the number of monsters. I'd really like it if natural spawned monsters were actually a threat to you, as opposed to just background noise trash that you just kind of like, get out of my way. A lot of this is going to depend on what the 1.9 update does to combat, so that's why I don't want to start mapping just yet, and also I'm kind of enjoying my break. And also a bunch of real-life stuff has been going on. Fixing up my house, a lot of work, a lot of workers, a lot of distractions. So I've put YouTube on a secondary status priority for a while. And the break has been nice because I think I've been doing 1 video a day for about 1.5 years. The last time I actually had a break and or vacation, although this is not really a vacation because every day something's going on around my house. That looks really cool. I like this. Even if it's not filled in yet, I still kind of like it. But the last time was, I think, January of 2014. That was the last time I actually took a break. And I think I went to like, or maybe not. It may have been, I don't know. I know in January of 2015 I did not take a break. I kept up one video a day, I think. Yeah, it would be January of 2014. So that's basically a year and a half of non-stop videos. So yeah, I guess I was feeling kind of like I needed a little bit of a break. So this has been really nice. But I want to capture some of what the original Super Hostile was like. I've definitely felt a power creep in the series, like the areas have to be bigger, more epic, more monsters, more loot, more of this, more of that, and it's kind of like the first Super Hostile was a small island in the middle of a lava sea, and it was just about surviving, and I didn't even add the Victory Monument and the wolves until Kaizo Caverns. Now, Kaizo Caverns, I think, was pretty damn good. Like, it kick-started the entire genre. I've actually been wanting to go rewatch Zisto's first playthrough because I think I gave him the map before it was even ready for the public. So he was his playthrough of Kaizo Caverns is the first footage of a CTM map being played, and it was slower paced. I felt like the combat was definitely there, but it wasn't something you mindlessly ran into like you did in some of the later maps. And I think a lot of it was the health regen. The health regen on really changed the dynamic of the game for Minecraft. Maybe not so much well, I guess it kind of did. That's debatable. But as far as custom maps go, the health regen really changed how things work. I really like this. I may actually copy and paste that directly as part of an area or a fortress or something. It just looks kind of cool. Or at the very least, I'll definitely come back to the idea of using slabs as walls because it looks really neat. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you have an idea for a name for, a new Super Hostile series featuring, I guess it's like shielded ultra hardcore. No natural HP regen, but you do have a regenerating shield, so you can make small mistakes. But if you make mistakes back to back, then you do have a permanent consequence. What else do I want to mention? I mostly just wanted to talk about enemies and changes in gameplay dynamic, and yeah. Yeah. I guess that's it. I can't. I think you ever get that feeling like you've forgotten to mention something and you don't know what it was. That's what I feel like right now. Oh well, I can always make another video. Anyway, thank you guys very much for listening, and I'll see you guys next video. Until then, as always, take it easy.